Hey guys, happy not so happy Thursday. Hope you guys are good. Um, hope the day has been good and you all are gearing up for tomorrow's rest or holiday. Not so good day today for me because I received the news this morning of the passing on of our friend, and not only that she passed on last week, and the memorial service was today, and I was glad that I didn't have anything major going on, that I could actually attend the memorial service and just pay my last respects to this friend of mine. And usually funerals, I'm just from there, I've just come back from the funeral, and funerals make you reflect. I think for me, most of the time, by the time you're going for the memorial service, you've already grieved this person for a couple of days. But for me, I went with my daughter, because she knew her as well. She was a neighbor where we used to stay, and, we moved out, but we still maintained the friendship. And she was such a lovely lady, older than me, but such a lovely lady. Like every time we'd meet, we'd always have something to say. We'd always, talk. We'd talk a lot. We're both in the medical field, so there was always lots to talk about. And then just other things in general, family and our children, and our sons are, in the same soccer academy, and we'd meet at trainings. Now that had moved out of where I used to stay, we'd meet at training, and soccer moms, when we'd go. And she was a very, very lovely lady, and I felt a deep, like I felt, when you grow older, losing people, it really hurts. Like, people who are around your age, it really does hurt, and you begin to reflect a lot in such periods. Of course, yes, loss is loss, whether you're 10 years old or 40 years old, but I think you all know what I mean. So I'm just from the funeral service, and one of the verses that came to me when I got the news this morning is Psalm 90, verse 12. Teach us to number our days so that we may gain a heart of wisdom. You may or may not have heard that verse before, but it is a very profound verse that, we need to number our days. We don't know when God will decide to take us home. And, because we don't know, it can happen anytime. It can happen when you're 30, it can happen when you're 60 or 80 or 100, or it can happen when you're 10. Like, you don't know how much time, that you have on this earth. And the verse doesn't end at teach me how to number my days. It ends at Psalm 90:12. It ends at that we may gain a heart of wisdom. If you number your days, then if you are wise enough to live each day like it's your last, because that's basically what that verse means, live each day like it's your last, because you don't know when God will call you home. And how will you live each day like it's your last? With the wisdom that God would give you. Proverbs has lots of verses where, the word says that wisdom is there. Like, you just need to ask God for wisdom, and wisdom is referred to as female, so she's on the street corners, she's everywhere, and I mean she's there waiting for you to just call on her, and God will give it to you. If any one of you lacks wisdom, he should ask. That's in James 1. If any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask, and when you ask, you shouldn't doubt. So you need to live each day like it's your last. And how do you live each day like it's your last? You have to know what you're on this earth for. You can't just live, a life where you're una ukotunde, that's the best way I could explain that. You have to live a life worth living. You have to live a life of purpose. You have to know why you're on this earth, There's a book by Rick Warren called The Purpose-Driven Life. It was a long time ago. I remember when I just started med school or something like that. I remember around that time, many people were doing that book as a Bible study in their different Bible studies. And I think I joined some Bible study that they were doing it. But I really cannot remember finishing it. But that book was in the house. And that's the title of the book, The Purpose-Driven Life. But then the subtitle or the subheading is, what on earth am I here for? So you need to ask yourself that question. What on earth are you here for? you have to honestly just sit with yourself and figure, what on earth am I here for? Then once you figure it out, live each day working towards that goal like it's your last day. Like if God would call you home today, that day, today, June 5th, Thursday, June 5th, have you lived out your purpose like it was the last day that God was that God gave you, that you were on this earth for? So of course, yes, we always reflect, but that came to me this morning when I got the news. And then when we were at the funeral service, somebody, one of the people who's giving a tribute, just reminded us about the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to is it the serenity? God grant me the something to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference, So that's one of the things that you should also keep in mind. There are some things that you just cannot change. You cannot change, some circumstances around you. You cannot change some people's behaviors towards you. That's one thing that I've learned in this life, that as much as you may want to change some people's minds and attitudes and behaviors towards you, it's only them who can make that decision to change. And that's the same thing for you as well. You have to look inside yourself. You're the only one who can change something about you, change a negative thing about you. So, and then you have to have, so when you look inward and you're able to change that, then you have to get that courage to change it, and then have the wisdom to know the difference. This I can change, this I cannot change. So you need to know the wisdom to know the difference. Then one last thing that also came out was there was this older woman who was called in, like she's the mother of the church, and she was so bold. And it just reminded me, like, the way older women talk, like they don't give a hoot, two hoots about you, and I was just like, I would love to be confident like that. Not when I'm older, but now, and like I said, I am more confident. I am very confident as compared to what I was a couple of years ago. But that the confidence that she had, may we have it. I pray that we may have it now and not when we are older, when now we just don't care about anyone and anything. So anyway, hope you guys have a good night. Take care of yourselves. God bless you.